Welcome back to Empowerment Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Friedemann Schaub, and today we are talking about procrastination. And I won't procrastinate about announcing how you can find out more about me, my work, my book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, seminars I'm offering, individual sessions I'm offering. You can go to thefearandanxietysolution.com, thefearandanxietysolution.com, and there you can find a lot of resources about how to overcome anxiety, insecurity, how to build confidence. There is a section on all the radio shows that I have been hosting and co-hosting since the last 10 years, and a lot of other things that may interest you, and of course also a form that you can fill out to get a free consultation, Skype or phone, if you're interested in the personal one-on-one breakthrough and empowerment program I'm offering for people all over the globe. So no matter where you are, you certainly can work on fear and anxiety, on issues that disempower you on a deeper level, on the level of the root cause, the level of the subconscious mind. We talked about procrastination before and how it can be just really devastating for a person to live with procrastination. And one aspect that we won't address today, but which is certainly also connected to procrastination, is addiction. Ultimately, addiction is a form of procrastination, a form of looking for an escape, for some kind of a joy, pleasure, a sense of feeling better and not having to deal with whatever problems are there. And there is certainly something that also, the more we are dealing with anxiety, the more life feels overwhelming, the more there are challenges we feel powerless about, the higher the rates of addiction, the higher the rates of consuming, whether it's now more and more pot or marijuana or alcohol or anything like this, we just have to be aware of it. These are all forms of removing ourselves from being engaged and empowered in our life and ending up in procrastination. Now, I talked about the four forms of procrastination, and well, one of the things that I mentioned before, I certainly did do because sitting at home and doing nothing wasn't really acceptable when I grew up. So it was about doing the right things for the wrong reasons, meaning you just find something else to do. You have to write an email instead, you clean up your desk. You feel like it's time to make that call that you have been avoiding, and instead you wash the car. There's just this trying to divert your attention, still getting something done, still feeling like, yeah, I was productive, but really not taking care of that, what you need to take care of. Some people know the 80-20 rule, and if not, read it up. This is a very good form of understanding of procrastination. Now, this is, by the way, the reason why I said if you are someone who feels always busy and is always, doing something, that doesn't mean that you're not also a procrastinator, but you may procrastinate around self-care, around things that bring you joy, around things that are for you. A lot of women, a lot of mothers are like that. They are really taking care impeccably of everyone else. They are running around. As soon as, the kids are coming home, they are only there for them, helping them with the homework, cooking dinner for the father that comes home in the evening, but they have no time and of course also no real motivation to take care of themselves. And that self-care, whether it's just, going to maybe get the pedicure or a haircut or to the gym, is pushed aside. That's a form of procrastination on a busy level. And then there is also the instant gratification that I already mentioned as another form where you just don't look for the long-term goals. You're just looking for that, what you right now can do to make yourself feel better, which is the watching TV or cruising, surfing the internet, or also, again, just self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. Some people procrastinate just by feeling paralyzed. They just feel like helpless. They completely avoid. They just want to not think about it and put the head under the blanket and cannot move, which is also a form of procrastination, but it's maybe the form that makes you feel the most powerless. And then the fourth form of procrastination is this full denial, where you're basically just telling yourself, I can do it tomorrow. No problem. I have enough time. It's not hard. This is something for the people that just believe that they work better under pressure, that they do a better job when they are anxious than when they are relaxed. So these form of procrastinations may be forms you can also discover with you. And I know it sounds terrible. It sounds like, oh my God, I'm basically hurting myself all the time. And some people may even be judgmental and say, well, I'm plainly lazy. That's really bad. But it's not. Procrastination has nothing to do with laziness. Procrastination falls into the survival pattern of avoidance. And avoidance ultimately is about protection. Procrastination is also something we have learned. Usually it's coming from somewhere in the past where we have learned that the avoidance of any kind of negative consequences through procrastination is better than going for it, taking a risk or taking any kind of responsibility. And then there is a fear behind it, which brings me to the reasons why we procrastinate. If we know why we do something, then we can also find a way to stop doing it because we just need to address those reasons that make us do that procrastination. Well, of course, the first obvious reason is the fear of failure. A lot of people procrastinate because they just are afraid of getting a no, or getting judged, or criticized, or making a change. This is interesting when people want to, for example, lose weight and they procrastinate around losing weight. And so when you go deeper, what is it? Well, I have tried so many times and it never has worked. That's a very common reason. But then there is also the fear of the consequent. What happens if I lose weight? What happens if I then go out there and start dating again? And what happens if I get hurt? Or what happens if I get the wrong attention from the wrong people? What happens if my loved ones don't like me to change? So there are all these fears that can be underneath the procrastination. Another one is the fear of the perfectionist to never being able to do it exactly right. The perfectionist, of course, wants to do it 100%, and then there is a fear of what if I can't? And so the perfectionist says rather all or nothing and often gets stuck in that paralysis of analysis, thinking too much about how can I reach this perfect goal and since it's not reachable, because life isn't about perfection. Since it's not reachable, the perfectionist often also procrastinates. Then there is the fear of the imposter. If you are finding yourself in a situation where you somehow got a promotion or you somehow did something really well and people really liked it and you felt good about it, but it was a one-time thing. And then you wonder, can I do it again? Or can I live up to those expectations? Or do I really feel like I was just lucky and now I have to prove myself, but they're going to find out I'm not good enough? Of course, that fear can also make you procrastinate and not want to really deal with that potential risk of failing. Another very common reason for procrastination is overwhelm, simply putting too much on the plate. And the plate can be so high that at some point you just feel like, oh my God, I don't know where to start. That elephant is too big, and you don't know where to take the first bite. And that's also something we need to understand when we procrastinate. Is it simply that we have just lost sight? We're not able to create some kind of a priority in our to-do lists. And so then we see just so much to do that the weight just makes us break down and stop before we even take the first step. Another reason to procrastinate is that dread. If you feel somehow, I don't want to, I bring up the gym again because it's a very common reason to procrastinate, but if you feel like, I don't like to go to the gym, well, maybe there is also a reason because you don't like that gym. Maybe you don't like the people in the gym. Maybe you don't like your routine because it's plainly boring. Maybe there is also something about that every time you go to the gym, you hurt yourself and it's painful and you just feel like, no, I don't want to do this to myself. Dread or pain or anything that is a negative consequence of doing that what you supposed to do can also create that sense of procrastination. Well, there are ways to get around it and beyond it, and we'll talk about it later on. Then there are two more reasons. One is the procrastination because you may be a hidden rebel. You may be the person who says, I don't want to do anymore what people tell me to do. If I should, I don't. And I know someone very personally who is exactly like that. This person functions better if you say don't do it than if you say do it, because there is also something about that inner resistance to doing that what's expected to do. And then the last reason I think that you also probably find in yourself is the deservedness, especially when it comes to taking care of yourself. Many people are procrastinating of self-care, taking that trip that they really, really wanted to do, visiting the friend that they have missed for a long time, and doing something like a coaching session for themselves, or just, going to it back to school and improving the career for themselves because they feel, no, I need to first take care of others. I need to first do my obligations and duties to those that depend on me. And they are putting their self-care, their ultimately happiness on hold and procrastinate about it. So if you find that your procrastination falls in any of those patterns, let's see after the break how we can break through those patterns and how we can find ways to overcome procrastination.